In a chilly autumn night, three boys, Jake, Tom, and Mark, set out for an adventure. They had heard whispers about an old abandoned cabin deep in the woods, rumored to be haunted. The thrill of exploring a place steeped in mystery drew them in, like moths to a flame. As they trekked through the dense trees, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting eerie shadows that danced around them. The boys laughed, trying to shake off the feeling of unease creeping into their minds. But when they finally stumbled upon the cabin, the laughter faded. The cabin stood crooked, with broken windows and a door that hung loosely on its hinges. Tom, always the bravest, pushed the door open. It creaked like a warning, but they ignored it. Inside, the air was thick with dust, and the faint smell of decay lingered. "Let's check it out," Tom said, his voice echoing in the silence. As they explored, they stumbled upon old furniture, strewn about like the remnants of a life long forgotten. But then, they found something else, a trap door hidden beneath a rotting rug. Intrigued, they pried it open, revealing a dark staircase that descended into the unknown. "Should we go down?" Jake asked, his voice trembling slightly. "Of course. We came here for an adventure, right?" Tom grinned and the boys nodded reluctantly, their curiosity overpowering their fear. They descended into the darkness, the air growing colder with each step. The sound of their footsteps echoed in the cramped space, amplifying their nerves. At the bottom, they found themselves in a dimly lit room, walls lined with strange markings. In the center stood an old wooden table, stained and warped. Suddenly, they heard a noise, soft at first, then a scraping sound that sent chills down their spines. The boys exchanged worried glances. Just then, the dim light flickered, and they saw a figure in the corner. A man, ragged and wild-eyed, emerged from the shadows, his hands bound with rope. "Help me!" he cried, his voice filled with desperation. "They're coming!" Before the boys could react, the man lunged towards them, panic in his eyes. The boys backed away, but Tom, caught up in the moment, reached out. "Who did this to you?" "They'll hear you," the man hissed, glancing nervously at the staircase. "You have to leave now." But it was too late. The sound of heavy footsteps approached, thudding through the cabin above. The boys froze, fear washing over them. They quickly realized they had stumbled into something far more sinister than they could comprehend. "Run!" Mark shouted, and they dashed back up the stairs, hearts pounding. As they reached the cabin, they found the front door slammed shut. They pushed against it, but it wouldn't budge. Panic surged. They glanced at the windows, but dark figures were already closing in outside. Shadows flitted past, their murmurs sending a wave of dread through the boys. They were trapped. Just then, the man from below appeared at the bottom of the stairs, eyes wide with terror. "I told you to leave. They'll take you, too." The boys exchanged frantic glances. Realizing they had to act fast, they turned to the man. "Help us!" With a surge of adrenaline, the man grabbed a rusty crowbar from the table and smashed it against the door. It splintered, and they burst through, tumbling into the night. But the woods had come alive. The boys ran, branches clawing at their faces, the dark figures pursuing them with relentless speed. They could hear whispers, promises of what awaited them if they were caught. "Keep running!" Jake shouted, his lungs burning. They sprinted deeper into the trees, the moonlight barely breaking through the dense canopy. After what felt like an eternity, they reached a clearing and collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. The sounds of pursuit faded, but the weight of fear still hung heavy in the air. The man, still with them, looked at the boys, his expression grave. "You need to leave this place. They don't stop. They'll come for you again." The boys nodded, adrenaline still pumping through their veins. They stumbled back toward the main road, never looking back, the shadows of the woods lurking behind them. Weeks passed, and though they tried to shake the memory, they found it haunting their dreams. At night, they could hear the whispers still, echoing through the darkness, a chilling reminder that some adventures are better left untouched. And in that old cabin, the figures waited, hungry for their next victims.